Happy freaking Tuesday. Today I'm going to be showing you the ad formula that's responsible for over $100,000 in sales in the month of May alone for our clients. So if you are joining us, make sure to smash and hit the love and like button. Give us some love. Comment if you're here live. If you're catching the replay, comment replay so we can see your name pop up. We can get excited about the people watching our stuff. But what we're going to be covering today isn't so much a training as much as it is a show and tell. I'm basically going to pull back the curtain, show you under the hood of exactly what is working right now to get patients in the door of practices all over the country with all sorts of different patient populations. So I'm going to be showing you the exact system that allowed clients like Spencer go from the point where he was struggling and thinking about giving up his entire practice back in March, where he was stuck at 30. Yo, what's up, Michael? Good to see you on here, man. Where he was stuck at about 30 visits a month, and he was stuck there for months. And he finally decided he was going to take the jump. He came and joined us. And within 3 months, didn't even take a full 3 months, he was seeing 150 visits. And he has now made his first hire, which we also trained him and taught him how to do. We're going to show you also AJ's ads and walk you through the images, the messaging, and the offers that they're using, and what AJ used to go from, kind of struggling to find new patients. He kind of burned out all the relationships and the referral sources within his community. He was doing all the Facebook group stuff. He was messaging people. He was kind of burnt out on this stuff, and it wasn't giving him the growth that he needed or the time to be able to spend time with his new baby. Okay, he just had a kid and he was strapped for time. So he came and joined us, and now he's making a consistent $15K a month through his Facebook ads while he's still only working 3 days a week. So he has all his time back. He has a steady flow of good income coming in to his practice they never had before, and he's absolutely crushing it. So our clients are doing really, really well. May was a massive month for all of our clients. 100K month just from the people who actually shared how they're doing is a pretty big accomplishment for us. I mean, that makes me extremely happy that our clients are seeing such success. But now I want to take you kind of behind the scenes and show you exactly what those ads look like. And so basically what I'm going to be showing you here today are 3 core things. Okay, there's 3 core pillars that our ad formula follows that produces these kind of results regardless of what patient populations you work with. Okay, and those are how to create really compelling creatives that get people to stop in their tracks and actually pay attention to what it is you're talking about within your advertising. I'm also going to talk about the different styles of messaging and copy that we use to instantly position you as an authority within your space and capture the hearts and minds of the people you're trying to get, so you push away all the people that you don't want to work with, all the wrong people, but attract all those high quality people that don't only come in for the initial eval, but they stay and they pay and they refer to you. They're the people that stay on for plans of care and that are excited to come in and see you and don't just ghost you on phone calls or just not show up to visits. And shout out to my buddy Brad Coate for that messaging on the stay, pay, and refer. If you guys know my boy Brad, drop him some love in the comments. He is the newest member of the Clinical Marketer team, and we're up to some really, really big and exciting things. So hopefully that gets you guys excited. And then number 3, what we're going to cover today is different offers that are working right now to remove practices from the commodity market and really position themselves as the go-to authority in their town to get people who might even not know what physical therapy is excited to come in for physical therapy. So if you're here, comment live. If you're here live, if you're catching the replay, comment replay as we go through this stuff. If I'm saying something that you find valuable, if you're learning stuff and you're glad that you showed up today, make sure that you smash that like and love button just so we can get this thing out there so more people can see it. Because what I'm covering today is definitely one of the most valuable trainings I've done in here for a while. It's a complete show and tell kind of format. So this is very actionable stuff that you can take home and implement and make sure that it's actually getting people in the door of your practice. Let me quick jump in here. What's going on, everybody? Yeah. Okay. So if you're brand new to our community, my name is Jordan Mather. I'm the founder of Clinical Marketer, where for the last 8 years, I've exclusively worked with physical therapy practices to grow their brands online. In the last 2 years, we focused exclusively on teaching practices how to do this stuff themselves. Because to us, you can't outsource what you can't effectively do yourself. And so we found over the years and through all of our different coaching and working with so many different practices of various size, the most scalable thing that you can do to grow your practice is first learn what works to get new patients in the door. Build a system, create a system and a process, and then hand that off to an admin, because there's nothing complicated about running your own ads. Facebook has made it easier now than ever to be able to effectively get patients in the door of your practice all in-house. And if you don't believe me, do you really think Facebook would make a lot of money if it was really difficult to run Facebook ads? Of course not. Okay. If it was so difficult that you had to be an expert to be able to make money with Facebook ads, Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't be able to have his third house in Hawaii. Okay. If it was complicated, he would have to sell that thing. And let's be honest, he's not going to be selling squat anytime soon. Okay. It is not easier now than ever to run your own ads. And so what I'm telling you right now is that if you follow along with my trainings, if you follow along with the way that we run and implement Facebook ads, that you can not only learn it yourself, but I would bet that your 8-year-old son or daughter or niece and nephew could also learn this stuff. And I would know, because I taught software programming to 5-year-olds. Okay. If you've heard of Bitsbox, I used to work at a summer camp and I used to teach 5-year-olds how to program little robots and little apps. And if I could teach them that, I bet you quite a lot that I can teach you how to effectively run Facebook ads without it taking a lot of time out of your day, and while consistently producing multiple five figures into your practice just from your ads alone. Okay, so today I'm going to show you exactly how all that stuff works and walk you through the 3 most important elements of running a profitable ad that doesn't make you look like every other chiro or PT or massage therapist or acupuncturist in town offering the same crap. Okay, and so before I dive into what those 3 pillars actually are, I want to cover 2 things really quickly. Number 1 is that if you are going to be advertising on Facebook, you have to be very, very specific about who it is that you're marketing to. Okay, it's not enough to just say, I'm marketing a free discovery visit, or I'm just offering some offer to anyone who's suffering from daily aches and pains. Okay, that's not enough. That might be enough when you're advertising on Google, when you're going after a lot of people who know that they're looking for physical therapy. Okay, it's good to be general because you're collecting from a much broader bucket of people who are very, very specific. You know, they know what they're looking for. So it's okay to be a little bit more broad and generic there. But when we're advertising on Facebook, when we're advertising towards populations of people that don't necessarily know what physical therapy is or aren't necessarily looking for a solution right now, we have to be very, very targeted about who it is that we're talking to. So when I walk you through the 3 pillars of our 100K ad formula, just keep in mind that the only way that this works is if you have a very specific patient in mind. Okay, I'm thinking as particular as postpartum moms trying to get back to running. Okay, that's very, very specific. And by being that specific, Facebook, with all of its vast knowledge within its database, is with extreme accuracy, able to find those people with that messaging and show your ads to the right people. So being specific is extremely, extremely important in order to leverage Facebook's algorithm to find the right people for your practice. So guys, if you're here, say hi. Let me see your name pop up. So let's dive into this stuff. Okay. So the number 1 thing that people kind of do wrong when it comes to doing social media or any sort of marketing online is they go a little bit too crazy with creating the images or creating video content. And the truth is, with the strategy that we run, the one that's producing, multiple 5 figures for the practices that we're teaching this to within, a matter of weeks, is that it's extremely simple. We're just using simple images. Okay, they don't have to create content. They don't have to do all of this extra live stuff every single week like we are to grow our coaching program. Okay, getting patients in the door is not complicated. So the only job that what is called an ad creative is, the image or the video that is featured within that ad. And so we prefer to use images because 1, they obviously work very, very well. Whenever you start to work with video, all of a sudden you're working with all these other variables that might prevent someone from wanting to do business with you. Maybe you're not great on video. Maybe you're bad at recording and editing video, or maybe you're just not saying the right things that are getting people to want to do business with you. Maybe you're saying too much and it's raising questions in the mind of the prospect, and any questions that pop up during a buying decision is going to prevent someone from moving forward. And so when running ads, we typically don't have people use video for at least the style of ad that we're running, which is very direct marketing, where it's very much, we're not just doing awareness content. That video content is pretty good for building awareness. The style of ads that we run are very much like, hey, here's a $47 offer. Here's what it's going to do for you. Do you want it? Yes or no? Okay. And so when doing that, the video content isn't very necessary. In fact, whenever we have used it in the past, the results have actually been worse than when we just use very basic and simple image creatives. Okay. So don't feel like you have to create all this content or do lives every single week to have a ton of success with Facebook. We have clients who are doing 20K plus from their ads, and they barely even touch a thing. They definitely don't record content. And it's just images that they've already been taking, when they're just almost goofing around with their staff at the practice. And so you'd be amazed to find out that most of the images that are going to do the best for your ads, you probably already have, and they're probably already on your phone. You just got to leverage them. Okay. So one thing I want to really drill into people's minds about creatives is just how incredibly important they are. If you have the right images, it can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to your practice. Okay. And we didn't realize this until a couple months ago, that if you have the right image, not only are your campaigns going to last much, much longer, but Facebook is going to deploy all of the budget that you allow them to just that one image, because it's getting people to stop and pay attention to your ad, and it's getting people to buy. Okay, so we have one creative, maybe some of you have seen it. It's me and Max sitting on a deck with a giant Jenga set, and it's like kind of falling on top of me. Or some of the more recent ones where I look like an idiot, like Captain Morgan standing next to a log. Those images have both produced over $50,000 for our business, just those two images alone. Okay, so it is worth investing time and energy into making sure that you have a steady flow of new images and creatives being taken either with you and your family and friends, or you in the clinic. You want a wide diversity of different images that you are taking, but just know how incredibly important and how incredibly valuable it is to your business to have a constant flow of images coming in. Okay, so that you can test as ads, and so you can allow Facebook to kind of figure out, what is going to be the best and highest margin images for your ads. And that's not something you have to figure out. It's a beautiful thing that Facebook just like takes all your images, and then it will go out and find which ones are going to be the best for you. Okay, so super important that you invest some time and energy into creating different images for your ads. So you also, with that being said, you want to have a ton of different creatives to test, but don't overcomplicate it. Okay, the only job of an ad creative is to get someone to stop and get the click. So they're, you're competing against so many random things within people's news feeds. And so the only thing that your image needs to do is get that person to stop, to pay attention long enough to actually read your messaging and see the offer that you're presenting to them. Okay, so don't overthink it. Okay, the general rule of thumb is whenever you're using some images, is just make sure that they're not super dark. Okay, if you have nice, bright, and vibrant images, that's what's going to catch people's eyes. And so something that you can do is whenever you have an image that you want to run, go into Canva. Canva is a free tool, canva.com, where you can upload your image. Then you can just increase the brightness just a little bit. And I'm telling you, it really, really makes the image on your ads stand out a lot. Okay, so that's something I would do from a design standpoint. But that's really all you need to do. You don't need crazy Photoshop. You don't want them to be too Photoshopped, because what happens when you have overly professional and edited ads is it takes away from the authenticity of your brand. And so what you actually want, what we're seeing convert at a really high level, is very authentic, very real photos of you in your element, working with your patients, or doing the thing that you love most. Maybe it's running, maybe it's mountain climbing, maybe it's biking. Maybe it's just fishing and being with your family. Those very authentic and real photos that look like they belong on the newsfeed are what works extremely well for getting people to want to trust and do business with you, because we're living in the age of authenticity. Okay, it's not enough to look professional and have a really good looking website. It's not enough to have those things, because everyone does. Okay, so what people are really interested in seeing is the person that's behind the smoke screen that most professionals put up when they start their own business. They want to see, what makes you, what makes you relatable to them, what makes you someone that they would want to sit down and spend an hour with. And so don't get don't take yourself so seriously. Have a little bit of fun with it. We certainly do. And the ones that we're goofing around with the most, the ones that we thought would never get people to want to do business with us, those are the ones that are converting at the highest level. Like the one where I look like a fool setting up like Captain Morgan with my foot on a stump. When that first went out and I saw it, I reached out to Max and I was like, dude, you got to take this thing down. Like this is such a bad photo of me. Take it down. And then he said, absolutely not, because this particular ad is actually your highest performing one and is producing a lot of volume for our business. And so it's never the photo that you think is going to do the best that's going to do really well. And so you definitely want to just try and test everything. Have fun with it. It is a lot of fun, and just like be like, okay, Thursday, we're going to take some photos and just kind of be a goofball, take a bunch of them, just test them. Because the beautiful thing is if it's a bad photo, Facebook's not going to show it to anyone. If people like it and they click on it and they pay attention to it, then Facebook is going to allocate more of your budget to that image. So there's no drawbacks to testing an image that you think won't work. Okay, because if it's not going to work, Facebook just won't show it. Okay, so what you want to do if you are running ads, something that happens very frequently that is a result of not testing enough images is ad fatigue. So usually after a month, campaigns can start to slow down. No matter how hot they start out, they start to fatigue eventually. And the number one reason because of this is that you're not giving Facebook enough to play with. You're not giving them more images to show around to find other gaps and other opportunities within your community that people will relate with. And so what you want to do for optimal results with your ad campaigns, what you want to do to make sure that your campaigns are lasting as long as possible so you have to spend less time managing them, okay, is to make sure that at least once a week, I would make it a goal to take and upload a brand new image to your ads. Okay, every single week, just at least one. If you can do that, your campaigns are not going to be much more profitable, but they're going to last much longer, and you're going to have to spend way less time actually managing them. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but if you spend an hour or two a week taking a couple photos and uploading them as ads, you're going to make so much more money in your Facebook advertising. So I'm going to share my screen and actually show you some ad creatives that are doing really well using our Facebook ad formula. Okay, so let's take a look at Mr. AJ. Let's double check, make sure I'm sharing the right screen with y'all. Okay, so this is AJ, and he specializes with runners. And so far, in the month of May, let's see how Mr. AJ has done. In the month of May, he brought in $14,400 from his ads. Okay, that is a very impressive number when you take into account that he's only spending a couple grand. And so his return on his investment has been incredible. And so what you want to do is take a look at the different creatives that he's using. These are actually his photos. This is one he took of his clients, and he just added this stuff in Canva that literally takes 2 seconds. These are all elements that you can just type in a word, grab it, and drag and drop it on here. Very, very simple. This is a level of optimization that we don't usually start out with. Usually we start with just the image, let it run, make sure that people are interested in this image. Then once it has enough clicks and people are opting into it, that's when we add on these little extra things to see how they convert. AJ's been working with us for a while, and so he's reached this level of optimization within his campaigns. And that's why you see that these are fairly edited, but just know that you don't want to start out doing that, because you can prevent campaigns from working when they might have otherwise if you didn't just overly edit them. So just know that editing is a future optimization. Don't start by doing it. Make sure that the images and the background, the main piece, people are interested in before you start testing, adding this stuff on top of it. So AJ is specializing with runners, and he follows our advice. Whenever he goes on a run, he takes a few pictures, and works out very, very well for him, because now he's producing at 5x ROI on his ads, and bringing in $15,000 a month when he's only working 3 days a week. I think that's a pretty dang beautiful thing. And now we're working with him to make his first hire so he can start getting more of his time back than he already has, and really start scaling out his impact and what's possible within his business. So yeah, easy stuff. Every time he goes on a run, just takes more photos, then uploads them once a week. Very, very powerful thing. And so again, what's working the best are very authentic things, not overly edited. Yeah, this one's my favorite. When his wife's trying to get him to hold him back while he's running with his dog. Yeah, these are great. And so I honestly hate these overly clinical images, but they have proven time and time again that they are working exceptionally well across different populations. So let's take a look at Paul Kachoa, who in last month, he pulled in $8,000 from his ads. And so with these, you can see, it's just fairly simple stuff, just him in the clinic, drops his little logo in the back. And it keeps the images fairly consistent with the offer that's at play. And we're going to dive a little deeper into offers in just a second. But as you can see, nothing is crazy here, okay? But they are things that, given the audience that he's going after, which is right here, women with sciatica who want to be able to lift their kids up again, he found an image that resonated with that message and just ran with it. So as you can see, there's nothing crazy about these images. They're insanely simple. So what the number one thing that you want to make sure you do when choosing your creatives is don't overthink it. Just because you're going to be testing so many of them, it doesn't matter how they look, just put them in there and test everything. Again, Facebook's not going to show them if they're not working. So show you one more example of ad creatives that are working really well, more fairly clinical stuff. And Mr. Michael or Dr. Shin here, he pulled in just over $10,000 with his ads in the month of May, and he even turned them off. So this is a campaign that's doing very well. And so, Michael's one of those clients that really doesn't have the time to create a ton of photos at this time. He started a new practice. He started out pretty slow, not sure if he was going to be able to keep his practice open. We got him to the point where he's been able to bring on new hires, and now he's busier than ever and hasn't been able to take new photos. And so we showed him the ads that are working really well and gave him a couple of these images. And just with these images alone, without having to take his own photos, he was able to scale up to $10K a month just from his ads. And so the phase 2 is going to be obviously taking some of his own photos and really starting to expand on these ads before these start to slow down and fatigue. Okay. So let me know if this stuff is valuable to you. So the next piece of this, besides the images, because again, the job of the image is just to get the click. Okay, it's just to get the person to stop long enough to read the next part I'm going to go into and talk about, which gets into your copy and your messaging and how to position yourself in the market and get people to want to trust you. So what we call this and how we achieve this is through a system that we created and we invented. We call them relatability statements. And so the first thing that someone does when someone clicks on your ad is they want to know, is this something worth reading? Is this something that I should care about? Okay, because as soon as someone sees anything on social media, there's so much like dopamine, so many things that people are just kind of like, scrolling past. Like, I bet you can't even tell me what the last thing, like three finger swipes ago that you looked at. You probably don't even know. And so it's extremely important that once you do get someone to stop, you have a hook, something that's going to capture their attention and make them be like, oh my God, like, what is this? And have to read. Okay. And the thing that does that within our system, again, is called the relatability statement. Its job is basically to not only get someone to want to read the rest of it, but prove to that person within 1 millisecond that you understand them better than everyone else does. Because the person who is able to describe or relate to the person the best is perceived to have the best solution, because obviously that person is going to assume it's like, oh, this person has gone through this themselves. They also know exactly what I'm going through. They must know how to solve my problem. And so that is the job and the role of the relatability statement. And so you might be wondering, like, what exactly is the relatability statement? Well, it's basically a very short sentence that is designed to get your ideal client to say yes, and only your ideal client to say yes. So it's supposed to be something that is basically going to make no sense to someone other than your ideal avatar. And so by reading this, they're like, they should have that like aha moment where they're like, oh my God, like Facebook's following me and listening to my thoughts. That's kind of what we're going for with relatability statements, because once we hit that just right, they're like, oh my God, like, how do they know this about me? And then they want to read on, and then they're going to read into the offer. And so the job of this relatability statement is, number one, is to build trust and authority that you understand their problem better than anyone else does. And by doing so, you're hooking them into the rest of the ad so that they have an opportunity to read whatever offer you have available for them. Okay, so I can't stress this enough. Besides the image, like if you don't have an image, no, it doesn't matter how good a relatability statement is, doesn't matter how good your offer is, no one's ever going to see it because no one stops because your ads or because your creative is bad. Now, if you have a good creative but a bad relatability statement, no one's ever going to get to see your offer because they don't care. They think you're just another Joe Schmo just trying to sell them something. And so this relatability statement is extremely important in proving that you're someone worth listening to. You're worth a few seconds of their time because you understand the deep, nuanced problems that are caused by their back pain. Okay, we don't want to just call out, very general surface level problems within our ads. We want to call out problems that are caused by those problems. And that's how we get people to really trust us and believe that we understand them on a deeper level than everyone else does. So it's all about building the trust. It's about hooking the prospect long enough to be able to present an offer to them. And also, really just helping Facebook understand who it is they are looking for. Because the way the Facebook algorithm works is it is a natural language processor. It's artificial intelligence. So whatever you put in your ad, Facebook is able to read and analyze, not just understand exactly what it says, but understand like it can understand sarcasm. It understands what it is you're actually implying. That's how smart it is. And so when we talk about the very specific problems that our clients have, Facebook is smart enough by going through and looking at online behavior, online interests, different purchasing behaviors, different content that people have engaged with. They can pinpoint with scary accuracy what people relate with the message that you just created. And so not only is this relatability statement insanely important in capturing that person's attention and proving that you're worth their time, but it's extremely important and probably the most important element about giving Facebook enough information to be able to show your ads to the right people. Okay, so let's go through a few different relatability statements that are doing exceptionally well right now. So let's share my screen again. Let's check it out. Boom. Okay, so let's go in and check out AJ's. Okay, so again, the relatability statement is this portion right here. Okay, so these first two lines. One is the avatar call out. Hey, active men in Fort Collins area. Okay, you're telling Facebook, here is where I am, looking for people, and here's exactly what it is that I want. Okay, Facebook's now able to use that and go find those people. The next part is the relatability statement, avoiding the bench press or overhead lifts. Who do you think we're talking to in this scenario? Okay, Facebook is going to know that we're looking for lifters. We're looking for gym goers who have looked up and talked about bench press at some point in their online experience. Okay, but it's also very, very specific. Okay, avoiding the bench press and overhead lifts. If you're not a person with shoulder pain or some level of pain preventing you from this, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't interesting. But if you are one of those people, this is like one of those ads that read your mind at the gym and you have no idea how in the heck they're seeing this ad, talking about a problem that they just had when they got done with their workout. Another one, is something holding you back right now? And this is going after runners who just haven't been able to participate in their normal runs or their group runs or train as hard as they want to. Okay, so this ad has been very well too. Let's see what other good ones we got on here. Let's move on. Got a lot of these. So, okay, women of the Randolph area. Many active women needlessly live with sciatica. Okay, and so this is a very this is the one time we kind of break away from our rule of the relatability statement, which is supposed to be a yes or no question that only your ideal client is going to understand. Okay, and so we sometimes will run a messaging like this, where it's more of a statement than a question, because some people, there's a common misconception that you aren't allowed to say pain, or you're not allowed to say sciatica or surgery within your ads, which is not true at all. Okay, so the number one reason like ads get denied or get disapproved, your ad account gets shut down, 99% of the time is because you're breaking one very important rule, which is you can't assign a negative attribute to the person reading that ad. So you can't say like, you have this problem. Like, did you just have surgery? Do you have back pain? You can't say things like that. You can't say a negative thing about the person reading it, because obviously Facebook doesn't want their users feeling targeted or feeling bad about themselves. So you can't say, do you have pain? But we can't say you have sciatica, but we can absolutely say many active women needlessly suffer from sciatica, because we're not saying you have it. We're saying, just as a general statement, a lot of people have sciatica, which is totally okay. So you are allowed to say pain. You're allowed to say surgery. You're allowed to say these things. We just can't say that or imply that the person reading it has it. Okay. By saying it like this, the prospect and the reader is going to self-select themselves. So that's a very, very powerful thing. So let's see. One is sciatica-free summer. I know this one's been absolutely crushing it for a lot of people. So that's a really powerful one. One sciatica-free summer. Tired of being limited by pain or fatigue. See, again, so you can say pain. You just can't say tired of always being in pain and fatigued. Like that, those things will make it a little bit, more likely to get banned. Let's see, too much shoulder pinching during a workout. Okay, super, super solid one. Okay, it's not about the shoulder pain. It's about ruining the workout. Okay, it's all about calling out those secondary problems. Tired of being limited by pain or fatigue, too much shoulder pinching during a workout. Avoiding bench press with overhead lifts. Can't make aching holes because of aches and pains. Okay, so these are all very, very, simple things. We're just asking simple questions about very specific problems. So just to give you a few more examples, looking for a way to stretch a tight hip. Hip's been crushing it for us. Sick of drilling shoulder work with only a PVC. Okay. Again, very, very specific. Anyone in the CrossFit niche that's having shoulder pains eats this up. Too much pinching the shoulder when lifting. All right. So nothing too crazy about this. So what I want everyone to do, and so this is a very, very valuable lesson that you absolutely should be doing on a regular basis, is figuring out what messaging is going to work really well for your audience. And this is absolutely something that you should do with your teams. Get your staff together, talk about this, and what you're really looking for in order to create really captivating messaging that's going to keep people contacting your business and positioning you as the go-to authority, is by going through your patient stories, listening very, very carefully what they're saying during their initial visit or their initial eval. And, not just like, okay, my shoulder's pinching me, but like, what are you not able to do in your life because of that shoulder pinching? Trying to find what are those underlying emotionally charged problems that they're experiencing, and then leveraging those within our relatability statements. And so something that you can do is get together with your team. I would spend at least 45 minutes on this and start, okay, let's pick one avatar. Maybe it's, women with shoulder pain. That's one of our top avatars right now. That's crushing it across the board with every person we run it with, in any state we're doing it in. We're doing it in Idaho, Florida, Georgia, New York, New Jersey, Wisconsin, Ohio, just to name a few. Okay, and that niche is working really well. Okay, so choose a niche that you want to focus on, and don't get too caught up in doing that. Okay, it's not like you have to throw this on your website. We're running this on Facebook, so you can change it literally at any time. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. You can test anything and figure out what works and what resonates quickly. And so choose a niche. Maybe it is, women 55 plus with back pain, because those are usually really good Medicare population. They usually come in for 10 plus visits. Those are perfect. So let's talk about those. And then have everyone take turns sharing a story about someone who recently came in and what their real problems were. It's not the back pain. Let's hear about those emotionally charged, like personal stories that have come out of that. And then think about, okay, how can we pose this as a question and put this in an ad for us to test? Okay, and you want to get in the habit of doing this, because it's going to help you significantly, not just with your ads, but how you're talking about the problems that you solve to your prospects. Okay, then whenever you're selling, whenever you're working with someone during like an initial eval, and you want to make sure that you're converting them on a plan of care afterwards, being able to share these stories and be able to talk about these unique problems that people are having without them even having to really like say it or confess it themselves. that is going to go a really, really long way, because again, the person who is perceived to understand or describe the problem the best is also perceived to have the best solution. And so this should be a part of your ongoing sales and marketing training, where you're not only paying attention to why people have come to see you and what finally got them to pull the trigger to see a specialist, but actually writing those things down and trying them. It takes 2 seconds to say, oh, this person came in and she was complaining that she couldn't pick up her baby's bottle in the back seat when she was stuck at a red light. Okay, and that's a very specific problem. That is a really, really good problem, especially for shoulder pain, which is, are your shoulders done reaching in the back seat? Like, to anyone else, that makes no sense. They have no idea what you're talking about. But to that mom whose shoulders are done and her kid keeps whipping stuff around in the back seat and she can't help the kid out and give her back their binky or something, like that is a very, very real emotionally charged problem that they are willing to spend money for to fix. Okay, so we got to start paying attention to what those things are and write them down. So again, what I would do is pick an avatar and write down every single problem that you think you're solving for them. Okay, what are the core problems? Okay, obviously they have back pain. What problems are caused by that back pain? Well, I am unable to play with my kid as much. Doing laundry is a nightmare. Cooking for my family is a nightmare. Okay, why are those things a problem? Okay, well, I can't spend as much time with my family. My relationship with my kids doesn't feel as good as it was before this problem. Or I'm just so freaking exhausted by the end of the day. I'm arguing with my spouse because I'm just mentally and physically exhausted from getting over this pain. Or I'm sick of taking Advil every single day. Okay, those are all really, really emotionally charged problems. So you got to really chunk down on the things that you're helping people with, because it's not just back pain. You got to chunk down on that. And if you like that exercise, you want to take it a step further, I would do one of my favorite exercises, and one of our clients' favorite exercises, and probably the most eye-opening one, is try to make a list of 50 ways that you actually benefit your clients. And so this is not only going to help you come up with really good messaging for your website and for your ads and in your everyday interactions, but it's also going to help you realize how valuable the service that you have is. Write down 50 ways that you help people. And so if you're currentently not charging what you think you're worth, this exercise is going to help you realize that, okay, I can be charging $180 a visit, or I can be charging $200 a visit. Because write down 50 things. You're going to get to 10, easy peasy. You're going to get to 20, pretty easy. But stretching from 20 to 50, that's where all the growth happens. That's where you start to really learn, like, holy crap, I do a lot more for people than I realize, and I am worth those higher premium fees that you're doing for people. Because what you're doing is so, in most cases, most people that we work with are going so far above and beyond what everyone else does for them. Who on here listening right now, who's like bread and butter are the patients who have tried everything and feel let down by other PTs in the healthcare industry? Probably everyone. Like, everyone tells me, like, yeah, the people that come to us are the ones that were let down by everybody else. That's what everyone basically says. And going through this exercise is really going to help you, see just all those different ways that you are helping people and why you are worth charging a bit more. Because if you are that person, if you are the person that people are finally going to get some premium, great quality care, then you should be charging those prices. There's no reason you should be better than everyone and charging less. That's crazy. There's no strategic advantage to being medium priced. You either want to be the lowest priced, but like the ATIs and the Athleticals, or you want to be the premium price where people go to when they're sick of all that cheap crap and they want results. That's where you want to be, the premium, because you're not structured. You don't have the infrastructure to charge and compete on pricing with ATI and Athletico. Wouldn't recommend it. That's a long, grueling, difficult game to play. So definitely try to be in the upper percentile of what you charge. And I'm not going to go into like how to go about doing that in this particular training. That's for another day. Okay. So again, relatability statements, it's all about building that relationship early on, proving that you understand them better than anyone else. The job of this line is only to get them to be shocked into reading your entire ad because you understand them on such a deep level. This is what's going to get them to go into the next portion, the next pillar of our ad formula, which is the irresistible offer. Okay, this is what's actually hooking them and getting them to book with you and get super excited about coming in to see you because you finally offered them something that they've been looking for all the time or all over the place but couldn't find. Okay. So whenever you're running ads, one of the biggest issues that we run into or people run into that leads to them not getting results is they're offering something that people don't completely understand or find valuable. Okay, so a lot of people, when they come to us, they've tried running Facebook ads. And if you are one of those people and you have ran Facebook ads, say hi in the comments. I'd love to hear, who's currently, has tried this and who has and hasn't had success. But basically, people, they advertise a free discovery visit or a free screen or a free massage or a paid discovery visit or a paid screen, not realizing that when you're advertising on Facebook, you're advertising to not just the people who are looking for physical therapy, which is about 3% of the total addressable market, but you're also advertising to the 47% of people who are problem aware. They know they have back pain, but they don't know what the solution is for it yet, nor are they actively looking for that solution. Okay, so when we're advertising on Facebook, we're advertising to a lot of people that you can help, but they don't know what physical therapy is. They don't know that that's the solution yet. And so the language that we're using to get them to come and do business with us needs to be completely different. Because if you are advertising a discovery visit, a free discovery visit, or a free screen, the perceived value of that thing ultimately is zero because they don't know what that thing they're trialing is. And so is it worth their time? Are they going to stop what they're doing, take an hour and a half off away from their family and possibly their job where they're getting paid to come and see you for this thing that they don't even really understand or know about? Probably not. You might find some people who already know what physical therapy is. They've tried it and they're willing to give you a shot. But for the most part, again, only 3% of the total addressable market know what physical therapy is, has tried it, and is willing to try it again. Okay, so we want to make sure that our messaging and what we're advertising, what we're offering to people, speaks to the hearts and minds of the people that might not know what physical therapy is yet. Okay, another problem that people have when they're advertising a discovery visit or a free screen is you're putting yourself into the commodity market. Okay, we call it the red ocean. And so anyone who's offering a free discovery visit, it's the same thing that every other practice in town is advertising. So you're offering something that people who know what physical therapy is know they can get anywhere at any time. Okay, and that doesn't make people want to take action. It doesn't make people feel special, and doesn't make you look like a specialist. Okay, and so what we do is instead of calling a free discovery visit, we take our avatar that we want to speak to heart, and we think about, okay, what is it that they actually want? Because it's not a discovery visit. Instead of calling it a discovery visit, maybe it's a Moms of Milwaukee shoulder assessment. Okay, something very, very specific. I'm a mom. I'm in Milwaukee. I have a shoulder problem. Okay, obviously I'm not actually, but for the sake of example, that's the kind of things that you want to get to. You want to tailor the title of what you're offering to the audience that you're speaking to, because not only does $47 Moms of Milwaukee shoulder assessment make those people feel special, or a $67 running moms or healthy moms running assessment make them feel like, oh my gosh, like this is made for me, and get them all excited. But it makes you look like an expert, like a specialist, something that they haven't seen before, something that they can't just Google on Google and find at any other practice in your town. And so by changing the title of what we're offering, even though it's the exact same thing as a discovery visit, it's just a paid discovery visit with a unique and tailored name to your audience. Now you're offering something that they can't get anywhere. And now you removed yourself from the commodity market. You put yourself on that premium pedestal that people are looking for. And now you have something that's completely unique that people actually want. Okay. And so we don't just stop by giving it this tailored name, because it's still a little ambiguous. People have an idea of what like a running assessment might be, but then again, some people might not. And so what we want to do is basically do what we call offer splintering. And so an offer splinter is basically a technique that marketers use to make offers less ambiguous and to increase the perceived value of what it is they are receiving. So, okay, let's take a look at this. If someone has a free discovery visit, actually, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to do this exercise together real quick. And this is something absolutely freaking do this. This is a super, super valuable thing that people usually get a pretty good kick out of. Okay. So you have option one, or option A, which is a free discovery visit. Okay. Kind of rad, you know, it's all right. They get a free discovery visit. Anyone that knows what physical therapy is understands the value of that. But if you are like 47% of the market that has the problem, but it doesn't know what physical therapy is, option B might make a little bit more sense. So let's say we want to get, postpartum moms back to running. Okay, so we're going to run an advertisement towards this population. So let's call this postpartum moms runners assessment. Okay, you could probably name it something cooler, but just for the sake of example, that's what we're going to run with here. Okay, I can reselect this. Probably not, but that's okay. Let's do this. Okay, and so now you have already something that's much, much stronger. We're advertising, okay, people can either choose a free discovery visit or, a $47 postpartum moms runners assessment. Okay, I kind of don't critique my grammatical issues on that. But now it's like, okay, this is definitely way better. If you're a postpartum mom and you want to get back to running, this is already a lot more valuable. Okay, this seems like something that they would much rather do, but it's still a little ambiguous. They don't really know for sure because they don't really know what is entailed in a runner's assessment. Are they going to have to get on a track? They're going to have to get on a special machine. Do you have different lasers to be able to analyze their running form and all these other stuff? There's all these little things that might be intimidating to some or absolutely necessary and mandatory to others. And so if you don't kind of answer those questions in people's minds, people are going to automatically be like, you know what, it's not worth the risk of this not being exactly what I want. Okay, so if you are going after those hardcore runners and they do want all the different laser sensoring technology and want video analysis of their running form and all these things, you need to make sure they include that. Otherwise, someone who does want those things that isn't written in here, they're going to be like, nah, and they're not going to do it. So if you do offer those things, basically, what you want to do is this technique called offer splintering. Okay, and the whole point of this exercise, again, is to make offers less ambiguous and to increase the perceived value. So right now, postpartum moms runners assessment, maybe that has perceived value of, let's call it, 50% of what it could be right now. So let's stack onto this and make it feel more valuable. So what we do next is, okay, basically what this is a discovery visit. So let's break apart what you actually do in that discovery visit and break it into 3 to 4 steps. Okay, maybe it starts off with a runner injury history review or a history audit, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Once you kind of hear their whole story, you understand what's going on. You want to understand kind of the severity of what's going on. So maybe we do a very brief running form audit. The next part would be a mobility and strength assessment. Okay, and again, this isn't like a full-blown evaluation. Okay, you're doing a very minimal version of these things just so you can get a good idea of where they're at, so you can make recommendations, on what they need to do next. Because you have to make them believe that you know what you're talking about and that the next thing that you're going to sell is very, very valuable. And so, in order to make them believe that, you have to take them through this experience, this process that shows them that you really know your stuff. Okay, so we're going to do the running form audit. We're going to check their mobility and strength to make sure that everything's balanced and moving the proper way. And then lastly, we're going to do a custom it's probably not the right word. A custom strength mobility plan. Okay. So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, they can either get a free discovery visit, or they can get a $47 postpartum moms runners assessment. We're going to do a running mom's history, an injury review, a running form audit, a mobility and strength assessment, plus a custom strength and mobility plan for relieving the pain that they're experiencing and getting them back in the game. So now this thing's a lot more attractive. It's much more irresistible. It answers a lot more questions in the prospect's mind, and they know exactly what they're getting. And you don't have to understand what physical therapy is in order to get this thing. And so now that's why this starts to become so incredibly valuable. Because we didn't change anything about the services that we're actually providing. We're just changing about the way that we talk about it. We're providing a little bit more context, a little bit more information to expand the perceived value of what people want. Because although that's the exact same thing as a free discovery visit, now people think it's like, oh my God, that's worth paying money for, because it answers all their questions. It checks all their boxes. It makes them feel special. And they know that they can't get that anywhere else. And so offer creation is the most cool thing in the world, especially if you're like a multidisciplinary practice where you have a lot of different things. You can kind of bundle together and make a really great offer. Like one of our newest members, Eric Bachman, who just joined, he also has massage tables that use heat and a couple other elements to kind of create this really, really relaxing atmosphere and to help further relieve pain after their visits. And so what we're doing is, one, we have a really unique offer that we're going towards people with hip pain. And as a bonus, once they opt in the ads, as a bonus, if they call and schedule right away, we're also going to throw in a free massage. And so that completely flips everything on its head. So now instead of Eric's front office having to call them and chase them down, now these leads are chasing them down to book an appointment because they want that free massage. And so if you have all these different elements within your business, it's really, really fun to create irresistible offers. And that's really what gets people to get excited and want to come and do business with you. If you do this right, your no-show rates are going to be really, really low. And it's going to pre-frame people in the proper way, which is going to skyrocket your conversion rate from your initial eval into plans of care, because people are going to go into that first visit knowing that you're an expert, knowing that you're a specialist, knowing that you're not like every other PT that they've worked with in the past. So offer creation, extremely important. Share one more story about offer creation that I just love to share. Was one of our former clients, Jenny. She was a pelvic health therapist, and she did workshops all the time for a burn boot camp. And whenever she did these, she averaged about a 15 to 20% conversion rate of the people in the room on a free evaluation after the workshop. And so once she started working with us, I said, absolutely not. You're never doing a free offer again, at least unless it's on your website. If it's on your website, it's fine, because that's usually a lot of physician referrals or people that are price shopping you against the competition. But when we're advertising on Facebook or when you're selling in a workshop, you have people's attention. People want to do business with you. They want you to remove the burden of having to choose all these things. Okay, they just want something that's going to solve their problem now, so they don't have to think about it. And so what she was doing is she was planning on doing another free assessment or free evaluation offer at the end of her workshop. And instead, I said, we're going to kind of flip this on its head, because everyone who sits through a workshop, they're pretty bought in. They just spent a lot of time with you. And when you offer them a free evaluation, they know that they can get that anywhere, anytime from anyone. So it doesn't make them feel special, and it doesn't incentivize them to take action right now. So instead, what we did is we changed the name of what she was going to offer. We called it a Women of Burn Incontinence Assessment. Very specific to those people, very specific to the problem that they were experiencing. And we told them that they can only get it. We created this offer just for them in this room. And for being here today, we're going to be able to offer it to you for $97. And so normally her full eval was around $180. And so we were able to say at the end of the presentation, because all of you are here today, instead of, I'm going to offer you a Women of Burn Incontinence Assessment, where normally if you were to work with me, this would cost you $180. But because you're here with me today, and if you decide to move forward with us within the next 24 hours, I'm going to give it to you for $97. And so because she framed it and packaged it in that light, she ended up converting more than half of the room, which is about 12 people, on a $97 initial eval, where she had a great conversion rate onto plans of care. She was excellent when she got them in the clinic. But by changing the title of it, by putting a price point on it, the perceived value of it skyrocketed, and a way more people, her conversion rate increased by increasing her price from free to $97. So in a lot of ways, a lot of people are hurting themselves by thinking that people want free stuff. No one wants, who has a legitimate need and a legitimate problem, wants the free version that's going to solve that problem. People want the thing that's actually going to work. And they want to make sure that they're able to get it as quickly and effortlessly as possible. And when you offer free, it raises a lot of alarms, like, is this going to be worth my time? Whereas if someone spends $50 or $100, they expect results. They believe that it's going to happen. If they make that investment, it means they believe that it's going to get the result. And so they're much more bought in, they're much more excited about doing business with you. And so the moral of the story is make sure that whatever audience you're speaking to, whether it's running ads or in a workshop, make sure you tailor whatever that offer is to that audience. Make sure you're not using difficult language that average Joes don't understand. This kind of goes back into your relatability statements too, as well as the offers. Make sure whatever language you're using is easy enough for an 8-year-old to understand. You want to think of it from the perspective of, if I were to provide this service, if I was, helping someone with their plantar fasciitis, and you're doing a lot of, manual therapy on them, like, that's not how they're going to go home and describe that to their spouse. You want to make sure in your offers and your relatability statements, whatever language you're using, you want to think about, as you're writing it, how would this person have described it when they went home to have dinner with their spouse after our treatment? That's kind of the frame that you want to approach all of this stuff from. So avoid difficult language, make sure it's very simple, to make sure that the people that don't know what physical therapy is can make sense of it. Okay. So always make sure that you're kind of like dumbing down your doctorate a little bit, and making sure that like normal, people less educated on the matter can understand it. Okay. Excellent, you guys. So those are the 3 pillars of our 100K ad formula. So again, this month, from the clients that reported their results, and we have a lot of clients that don't. Unfortunately, our best clients are the ones that are kind of like ghosts and don't engage too much, because they have giant teams, multiple clinics to manage, that sort of thing. But from the clients that have reported, in May, we've helped our clients generate over $100,000 using this exact ad system. It's very, very simple. All you have to do is choose a niche that's working really well. I'll give you 2 suggestions, if you will. So women with shoulder pain is a really, really hot one. You saw a lot of the ads I showed you covered those, as well as runners. Okay, those are 2 very, very hot niches right now. So if you are interested in working with anyone with shoulder pain, and hip pain, I'll give you 3: hip, shoulders, and runners. Very, very successful campaigns across the board, across various states and cities. So those are great niches to go after. Start thinking about, like, okay, these are the niches I want to go after. What images are going to pop to these people? Are you a runner? Take pictures of you running. Other images that work really well are you with your pets, your family pets, or goofing around with your family. People want to see the real side of you, not the professional facade that you put up. Okay, people want to really get to know you, and that's how you get them to believe that's like, okay, this might be someone that's worth my time and going and talking to. Facebook is a very personable, authentic experience. It's supposed to be. And so that's what you need to start giving people, especially like if you have cats and dogs. It works so well. It works so well. If you allow pets in your clinic, get pictures of them every single time and run them as ads, it's going to work. 9 times out of 10, it crushes it. So make sure you're doing that. So choose a niche, find some creatives, make sure that as you're doing it, you take a ton of them. Make it your goal to upload at least 1 new image to your ads every single week. That's how you're going to keep the longevity of your campaigns running. That can be the difference of your campaign fatiguing after a month and lasting and running 6 months without you having to really edit or change anything besides uploading a new image. Very, very cool. Very, very simple. Don't overthink it. The right image can bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars to your clinic. So it is worth investing in and taking time, and maybe even bringing in your 14-year-old niece to take some photos as a, summer internship. Okay. Get someone that's in there who can take photos of you and your staff in action, having fun. Doesn't have to be professional. Have fun with it. Obviously there's limits to that. So, experiment at your own risk, but have fun. Just have fun. If people can see that you're having fun, it's automatically going to, transmit those emotions in the photo to them and make them more likely to want to do business with you. So have fun with it. Images are simple. Just make sure they're bright, make sure they're engaging, make sure they're authentic. Don't overly edit them. Number 2 is make sure that in your relatability statements, you're demonstrating your deeper understanding of your clients than anyone else. No one understands your patients better than you do. And this is really where most practices start to realize that marketing is a ton of fun. Okay, it's not about being a creative genius. It's not about being like, oh, I'm super technical, I understand how to run Facebook ads. Facebook ads are super freaking easy. They're so easy, you guys. I've taught so many people that are the most tech illiterate people I know how to do this, and they're having success with it. I could literally teach this to a 5-year-old. I really, really could. Okay, so the part that is difficult and where people start to get tricked that Facebook ads is actually hard is in the messaging. Okay, because people overthink it. All you have to do is share a story that someone told you that shows that you understand that problem deeper than anyone else does. And so once practices start to realize it's like being a great marketer is about understanding my patients, it starts to be less scary and starts to be a little bit more fun. So make sure you're documenting the stories that your patients are sharing and finding a way to turn them into a yes or no question that only that patient would understand. Okay, so the images job is to get the click. The relatability statement is to hook them into reading your ad long enough to get to the offer. And now the offer is all about proving to people that you aren't like everyone else, that you're not a commodity, that you are the one place in town that offers this specific service for this specific avatar. Okay, tailor the name of it to that niche, give it a price point, because if people don't know what it is, they need a price to kind of anchor the value to. And so give it a price to, one, increase the perceived value of that thing, to give people that don't know really what it is a sense of what it's worth, and also to repel all the people that are freebie seekers, people that are going to book that aren't going to show up, or people that are going to show up for an initial eval but never actually buy a plan of care, where of course that opportunity cost of having that visit is freaking massive. So we need to have a price point along with a tailored, unique name to push away those people that aren't worth your time. Yes, they need help. They can get help somewhere else. Okay, you got a business to run. Okay, so make sure that not only you have the tailored name, you have the price point, but you break it into a series of bite-sized, easy to understand steps so people can kind of visualize what this appointment is really going to be about. Because if you only call it a runner's assessment, that can mean a lot of things to different people. Maybe you have a one-room clinic, not a ton of room. You have a treadmill, you have an iPhone, and you can have a very, very basic runner's assessment. Or maybe you're a 7,000 foot facility with an AquaG and all these other really cool tech that you're going to take people through, and all these different EMG sensors that you're really going to evaluate their running form. And so there's different levels to this. And so you need to make sure that in your messaging, you break down exactly what it is so that it appeals to the right people. Because if you leave it ambiguous, it's going to create questions and red flags in the mind of the beholder, and they're not going to come in, because a confused buyer never buys. And if they have any doubts about what they're going to get, it's not going to be worth their time, because they don't want to be wrong. Everyone is terrified of being wrong. Okay, so ad formula. Choose images that are fun, authentic, and bright. Okay, their job is to get the click. Write and choose a relatability statement. You can borrow one of ours that I showed you. You can go back in the video. Went through several that are doing extremely well. All have generated over $10,000 in the last month. So the relatability statement's job is to prove that you are relatable, you understand them better than everyone else, and therefore have the best solution, and to hook their attention long enough to get to the offer that removes you from the commodity market. Number 3 is the offer. Make it unique, give it a price, break it into a series of bite-sized, easy to understand steps, and therefore you're removing yourself from the commodity market. You're the only place in town people can get it. They can't price shop you against anyone else in town, because you're the only one with the postpartum mom's running assessment. Okay, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you can nail those 3 things, you're going to have massive success running Facebook ads. Setting them up is so easy. Okay, 90% of what makes Facebook ads work are the 3 things I covered here today. Setting them up, you can do with literally less than an hour. Setting them up, super easy. When you nail those 3 things, managing them is also extremely easy. All you have to do is keep updating images, and it's going to keep working. Okay, very, very simple process. So now, for those of you who are watching here today, if you do want to learn how to implement this stuff, if you do want help making sure that you set this up properly, so you're not just throwing money out the window hoping that it's going to work. Okay, we do offer calls with our specialists who can help you learn, okay, what patient population should you target, what patient populations are working right now, and help you kind of figure out what it would take for us to be able to help you set up these ads together. Okay, obviously every single Monday, today's a Tuesday because I missed yesterday because I was traveling, but every single week we're providing free training on how to launch, scale, and manage your own in-house Facebook ads, because we know from doing this for 8 years that it's extremely easy, and any 12 to 15-year-old can easily manage this stuff. A 5-year-old can easily set this up. Managing it, I bet I could still teach them, but you can easily implement this stuff and hand it off to an admin or any office assistant to be able to effectively manage this stuff. We do that every single day. So what we do, aside from teaching this stuff for free, is we have a done with you training program. It's a 12-week program called the Book Partnership Program, where we not only provide you with the HIPAA compliant CRM with the automated emails, text, and landing pages, all the back-end tech that makes Facebook ads super easy. Not only do we provide you with all that stuff, but we set up all these campaigns with you. We explain it every step of the way. Your ads are set up within a week. Then the remaining 11 weeks of our program is all about not only scaling your ads, but scaling your systems, scaling your teams, and making sure you have a foundation that is capable and ready to scale to whatever goal you have in mind over the next 12 months. And so if you're interested in learning what it would look like for us to do that with you, and to teach you and educate you on how to do this stuff so that you can hire and delegate this stuff effectively. What I want you to do is comment ads in the chat below. And what we're going to do, if you do that, is we're going to have one of our specialists contact you. And when they do that, they're not going to have anything to sell you. This is purely a consultation. What they're going to do is hear and listen to your unique story of your practice, what your challenges have been over the last couple of months, and ultimately what it is you're hoping to achieve. And if they are confident that our program can get you to that point, and only if they're extremely confident will they get to that point, they're going to set you up with a call with either myself or Ben. And then Ben and I are going to help basically put together a custom game plan on how to hit that goal, and then show you an alternative route that might be able to get you there faster by joining our booked program. So if you do comment ads, you're going to talk to the specialist. They're not going to sell you anything. They're just going to help hear your story and help put together what a game plan might look like to help you achieve that. If they're not confident that we can't help, which happens more often than it does, we don't help anyone. We won't work with just anyone, because the most important metric that we track is our client success rate. And the only way we can maintain an 80% client success rate is if we don't allow people that can't get results, or we don't think we can get results, into our program. And so at the very least, if we don't invite you to jump on a call with either myself or Ben, we're going to share more trainings with you, or point you in the direction of another coach that we're probably friends with that can get you the results that you're looking for. But if you are stuck at your current growth level, if you are burning out, if you have been stuck at the same number of visits every single month for a couple months, what I want you to do is comment ads so that we can help figure out how to break through that glass ceiling together for you, whether that's working with us or not. If you're a part of this community, we want you to win. We want you to succeed. And most importantly, we want you to be happy. And we have a massive resource library at our disposal that we can give to you and provide you with to help make sure that happens, whether that's a free thing or a paid thing. We have something for you. So if you guys are interested in learning what it might look like to work with us and getting a custom action plan together to hit your goals, comment ads, and one of our specialists will follow up with you for a phone call. But everyone, thanks for watching. Everyone have a great night. Love all you guys. We'll talk soon. Later.